Before we start, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how quietly dogs live with us? They don't complain when something feels uncomfortable. They don't argue when something confuses them. They don't sit us down and explain what they need. They simply adapt. Your dog may follow you everywhere, sleep near you, and look at you like you're their entire world. But that doesn't mean everything you do feels good to them. Here's something many people don't like hearing. A dog can love their human deeply and still dislike certain daily behaviors that human does. Not because the human is careless, not because the dog is ungrateful, but because dogs experience the world through instincts, senses, and emotions that are very different from ours. And dogs are incredibly patient. They tolerate, they adjust, they stay quiet. Over time, those small moments of discomfort slowly shape their behavior, their stress level, and how safe they feel around us. Today, I want to talk about 8 very common human habits that dogs genuinely dislike, often silently. These aren't dramatic mistakes. They're everyday behaviors most loving owners never question. If you live with a dog, there's a strong chance you'll recognize yourself in at least one of these. Let's begin. The first thing many dogs dislike is something humans consider pure affection: hugging. For humans, hugging is instinctive. We hug when we're happy, when we're emotional, when we want to show love. But dogs didn't evolve with hugs. In the dog world, wrapping arms around the neck or shoulders restricts movement, and restricted movement, even without danger, can create discomfort. That's why many dogs stiffen during hugs. They stop moving, they turn their head away, they lick their lips or yawn. These behaviors aren't signs of enjoyment, they're calming signals, a dog's way of reducing tension. Some dogs learn to tolerate hugs from people they trust deeply. But tolerance is not the same as preference. If dogs could choose how affection looks, most would choose closeness without restraint. Sitting beside you, leaning gently against your leg, resting nearby while still feeling free to move. To dogs, affection is about presence and safety, not pressure. Another habit dogs often dislike is prolonged direct staring. Humans are taught that eye contact shows honesty and attention. We use it to connect. Dogs interpret eye contact differently. In canine communication, a long, unbroken stare can feel intense or confrontational. It's often used to test boundaries or signal tension. This doesn't mean eye contact is always bad. Soft, relaxed eye contact can build trust. But hard staring, wide eyes, no blinking, leaning forward, can make dogs uncomfortable, especially dogs who are shy, anxious, or still learning to trust humans. When dogs look away, squint, or turn their head, they aren't being guilty or disobedient. They're communicating. Dogs prefer relaxed faces, gentle movement, and calm energy. For them, safety matters more than intensity. Another very common habit is talking constantly, especially in excited or high-pitched voices. Most dog owners talk to their dogs all the time. We narrate our day. We use playful baby voices. We fill silence with sound. Dogs do respond to tone, but they are extremely sensitive to it. They don't process words the way humans do. They process pitch, rhythm, and emotional energy. A voice that constantly changes volume, speed, and emotion can be mentally exhausting. That's why many dogs respond best to calm, steady voices and clear cues. Not because they're less intelligent, but because clarity feels safe. It's not that dogs dislike hearing their humans speak. They dislike unpredictability. Sometimes, the most comforting thing for a dog isn't conversation. It's quiet companionship. Walks are another area where human expectations and dog needs often collide. To humans, walks are exercise, a task to complete, a route to finish. To dogs, walks are information. Sniffing is how dogs read the world. It tells them who passed by, when, and what's happening around them. When we constantly pull the leash and rush forward, we're cutting off their primary way of understanding their environment. Imagine being dragged through a place without being allowed to look or explore. That's what rushed walks feel like to dogs. Research shows that sniffing lowers stress levels and heart rate. It's mental enrichment, not wasted time. A short walk filled with sniffing can be more satisfying than a long walk filled with pressure. When dogs are allowed to explore, they return home calmer and more balanced. One of the most damaging habits humans have is punishing dogs after the moment has passed. A dog chews something while alone. The human comes home later and scolds them. To humans, this feels logical. To dogs, it makes no sense. Dogs live in the present moment. They don't mentally rewind their day and connect delayed punishment to past actions. When punishment comes later, dogs don't think, "I did something wrong earlier." They think, "My human is angry right now, and I don't know why." That's why dogs often show what people call guilty behavior before any words are spoken. It's not guilt, it's fear learned from tone, posture, and past experiences. Delayed punishment doesn't teach dogs what not to do. It teaches them that humans can suddenly become unpredictable. Clear guidance in the moment builds understanding. Delayed anger builds anxiety. Another thing dogs often dislike is being forced into social interactions. Humans are social creatures, so we assume dogs should be too. But dogs are individuals. Some love meeting strangers. Some are cautious. Some prefer distance. Yet many humans ignore this. We pull dogs toward people. We allow strangers to pet them without asking. We insist they be friendly. From a dog's perspective, this removes choice. A dog that turns away, freezes, or hides isn't being stubborn. They're communicating discomfort. When those signals are ignored repeatedly, dogs escalate, not out of aggression, but necessity. Respecting a dog's boundaries doesn't make them fearful. It makes them confident, and confidence builds trust. Inconsistency is another thing dogs quietly dislike. Dogs crave clarity. What confuses them most isn't rules, it's changing rules. Being allowed on the couch one day, but punished the next. Jumping being cute sometimes and unacceptable other times. Different reactions from different people. Dogs don't understand exceptions, they understand patterns. When patterns are unclear, dogs guess. Guessing leads to mistakes. Mistakes lead to frustration on both sides. Consistent rules help dogs relax. They know what's expected. They feel safe. Finally, the most important habit of all, ignoring subtle stress signals. Dogs communicate discomfort long before they growl or snap, but humans often miss it. Lip licking, yawning when not tired, turning the head away, freezing, sudden scratching. These are calming signals, polite requests for space. When these signals are ignored, dogs escalate. Not because they're aggressive, but because subtle communication didn't work. Most serious behavior problems don't come from bad dogs. They come from misunderstood dogs. Learning to read these signals can transform the relationship you have with your dog. And there's one more thing most people don't think about. Dogs don't measure love the way humans do. They don't count toys, treats, or routines. They feel how it feels to live around you. Your tone, your movements, your reactions, your emotional energy. Dogs notice tension before words are spoken. They sense frustration before anger appears. That's why small habits matter so much. A rushed walk, a raised voice, an ignored signal. None of these are abuse, but repeated over time, they shape how safe a dog feels. And safety is everything to a dog. When a dog feels safe, they relax. When they relax, they listen. When they listen, behavior improves naturally. Most behavior problems aren't obedience problems. They're emotional ones. And awareness fixes more than punishment ever could. When you slow down, dogs slow down. When you soften your voice, dogs soften their body. When you respect their signals, they stop needing to escalate. The relationship becomes calmer, quieter, more cooperative. Not because the dog is controlled, but because the dog feels understood. Dogs don't ask for perfect humans. They respond to effort. Effort to listen. Effort to observe. Effort to see the world from their side, even briefly. And when you do that consistently, something powerful happens. Your dog doesn't just follow you, they choose you. So if there's one thing to take away from this, it's not guilt, it's awareness. Pause sometimes. Notice more. Slow down when you can. Because from a dog's point of view, those small moments are their entire world.